In this video, I'm building the ultimate underground villager trading hall, fully equipped with every possible trade that I need to survive in Minecraft Hardcore. And I think it's going to make perfect sense if we build it under our neighbouring village, because I have already scouted out a nice section underground, and it's nice and deep so that we have plenty room to work with. But I do want to dig out a very big space for this thing, so let's just grab our beacon, get it all constructed, give ourselves haste 2, and let's have a digging montage. And as usual, I think I may have bitten off more than I can chew here. But at least we have loads of space to do whatever we want. And as you've already seen in the intro to this video, I'm going to turn this into one giant library. But if we are going to build a giant library, we're going to need a lot of bookshelves. And that means we're going to have to make some preparations, because we can't get books without leather. So you guessed it, we're going to have to build a cow farm. So let's go ahead and grab a load of spruce wood from our chests, which we can use to craft a load of fences. Then we can just place all of these down to make a giant cow pen. Would you look at that, we've already got one inside. But sorry sheep, you'll have to go. And since this is soon going to be overflowing with cows, I think it will be a bad idea if we put a fence gate on this thing, because eventually once we go to feed them and open a gate, they're all going to go flooding out. So we're just going to go for the classic carpet trick. But anyway, let's hop back over to our island, because if we're to breed cows, then we're going to need a lot of wheat. Alright, wheat acquired, let's find some cows. Oh, hello ladies, may I interest you in being part of a battery farm? Alright, this way if you wouldn't mind. Alright, and single file over the stairs please, come on. There we go. And just like that, we officially have a cow farm. And I'm sure this is going to get out of hand pretty quickly. Oh, these poor cows. But that is not everything that we're going to need to make books. We're also going to need to plant a load of sugarcane for paper. So I'm just going to go around the edge of the island here and get this all filled in. But alright, let's get started on the trading hall. And I think the first thing I would like to start with here is the floor. For some reason I always leave the floor until last in these types of builds, so it would be nice to get it started early. So let's just fly back up to the top here, and we can start putting a little palette together for what we want the floor to be. And so far I've picked up some deep slate and tough, but for what I've got in mind, we're actually going to have to take a quick trip into the nether, because I would actually like to silk touch some of this nether gold. I'm also going to take a quick stop into the crimson forest here, because I would also like some of these shroom lights. And finally, we'll just take a fly on over to our farming district, where we can grab some red wool. And alright, that should be everything, but I do want to get some nice variations of the tough blocks here. And let's just make a nice little template of what we can do for the floor in the middle here. So I do want to start off with a shroom light in the middle, then we'll craft some red carpet. Oh, hang on a second, this is brown carpet. Bruh, I hate being colorblind. Oh, I'll be back in 1 second. Alright, I've actually picked the right one up this time, so let's make some carpet, because I would like to place that on top of the shroom light here. And then I'm also just going to place 2 blocks to the left and right, which we can also cover with carpet, so it's not too important what these blocks actually are. Then we'll get some of that lovely nether gold in. And for the tough blocks, I would actually like them to alternate, so we can have chiseled tough bricks there, and just some normal chiseled on both sides of that. And then obviously as the floor continues, we would just alternate some more. And then I think from the tough to the edge of the wall, we can just have a bunch of deep slate in. So, okay, that is the template we're looking at. And I know it's maybe a little bit hard to visualize right now, but once we have this thing filling the whole room, it's going to look a lot better. But of course, to do that, we're going to need quite a lot of resources. So let's kick it into a mining montage. While I go ahead and build the floor, please subscribe and hit the bell, because it really helps the channel grow. I am actually really liking the look of this so far, and I'll be honest, I did kind of forget that we had that mod which makes everything twinkle, but to be honest, I kind of like it. And of course, having the shroom lights under here just gives us a nice sneaky lighting effect. But yeah, so far so good, and I think this really sets the mood. And if we take a quick fly upstairs, you can see that I have been feeding the cows, so we're also making some good progress on these guys. But one thing I kind of have been neglecting is all of this sugarcane, and I definitely need to make sure sure that I stay on top of this. And that has given us just about 6 stacks, which is pretty solid. So as long as I keep remembering to harvest this stuff, we shouldn't really run into any issues. Anyway, let's just plop all of those into this chest here. And I suppose while we're over here, we may as well grab some wheat and get all of these cows bred up again. Alright, I can already feel my FPS getting lower, so we're definitely doing something right. But now that our farms are taken care of, it's finally time to move on to the next part of our trading hall. And for that next part, we are going to have to kidnap some villagers and chuck them into a breeder. Now, since I'm not a dumb idiot, I did go ahead and trap some villagers inside of their houses. But let's be smart about this, because if we are going to build a breeder, we're going to want it easily accessible to the actual trading hall down here. So I think for now, I'm just going to come to the end of the hall, and we can just go ahead and dig a nice big hole into this side. Then at least once the villagers have grown up, we can just have a nice minecart system coming out into the hall. But let's just grab some resources to build this thing. Although, come to think of it, we are definitely going to need some gold for powered rails. So I suppose that means we're going to have to hit the caves before we can get started. Oh, but hello, looks like we've already found some gold. So let's just yoink this. In fact, there seems to be gold all over the place. I thought this stuff was meant to be rare. Oh, there's quite a lot of mobs down here though. I think we should be fine. Just gotta kill them before they kill me. Yeah, let's definitely not lose the world trying to dig up gold. Alright, mobs clear. Let's get digging. And okay, I definitely did not expect to get over a full stack of gold there. I think I only need about 5 powered rails, but I suppose when it comes to ores in Minecraft, you can never really have too many. So let's just get this all stacked up. Then we can use our Fortune 3 pickaxe on it. And it looks like we've got just over 2 stacks there. And I've got to be honest, I was kind of expecting a little bit more. But like I said, that is more than enough anyway, so let's just make some powered rails. Oh, we need to smelt it all. I forgot about that. Well, that's alright. That's why we made a little smelting station over here. So let's just chuck all of that in, get him crafted into powered rails, and with that we have everything we need to build this villager breeder now. So let's just pop back down to the villager hall and let's get this thing built. And that is the breeder all sorted and ready to go. I will quickly show you how it works though. I've just made a tunnel around the side here which leads out to this bit, and this is where all the villagers are going to go once they grow up. Then once they're ready to collect, all we gotta do is press this button and it'll fetch them in a minecart. Then we'll just have to run some rails along here, leading all the way out back into the main hallway. But of course we are going to have to get some villagers in this thing for it to work. So let's just go ahead and craft ourselves a load of rails. And then what I'm going to have to do is create a temporary staircase up the side of our wall here. Then we'll just continue this through the floor. And then eventually we should break through to the village. Then let's find our villager houses that we stored them in. Looks like this is one here. So let's just run a rail from this house all the way back down into our tunnel, and then we can just feed that all the way into the breeder, and then hopefully the minecart will just fly over here and drop them safely inside of there. Alright, let's make sure we do this nice and safely. We don't want the guy running free, so let's maybe just get some rails here, pop a minecart down, and hopefully we'll just push him in. Oh, he's in. Nice. Alright, off you go to your new home, sir. Now let's just very carefully destroy that minecart. Okay, nice. We know it definitely works now, so let's craft another minecart. Then we can just run these rails to the second house. And go on, do you want to just hop in there? Nice, he's in. And off he goes. Alright, see you in a second, my friend. Idiots don't know what they're in for. Alright, let's see. Did he make it safely? He did. Let's just break that. So yeah, I think that is good for now. What I will do though is fly over to our island here, where we can just go ahead and grab a load of carrots. And then if we just chuck them all inside of here, we should hopefully pick them up and start trading quicker. Oh, there they go. Their inventory's getting filled up. This could be the magic moment. Are we going to get a little baby? Oh, nice. We got a mini one. Alright, sweet, that worked. Now eventually that little one there is going to run through that hole. Oh, it happened. And then once he grows up, he should appear in this chamber, which we can then use to suck him out with the minecart. Okay, nice. That all works. And it definitely doesn't violate any human rights. But while we wait for all of those villagers to get ready, we should probably decide on a good layout of where they're going to be inside of the actual hall itself. So let's just take a quick trip over to our tree farm, where we can grab a load of spruce wood. I'm also going to quickly grab our woodcutter from the house, which we can use to craft a load of barrels, which we can use to make a nice little little outline for where the villagers are going to live. So a nice little simple layout like this will give us enough space to fit 5 villages in between them. And if we just repeat this a few more times, we end up with something looking like this. So if you can imagine 5 villages between each section here, we are going to have a lot of traders. Although we do have this smaller 3-block section between each part, so I think we're going to have to add some struts in here. And although I am tempted to just build this entire thing out of spruce, I think we're going to benefit from some dark oak. And with that in mind, I'm actually going to plant a few more trees so we don't run out of wood anytime soon. And there we go, that should do. So let's head back over to our trading hall. Oh, actually, in fact, let's take a quick pit stop at the cow farm, which is definitely starting to make some good progress. Oh my word. I think I'm definitely going to have to harvest some more wheat again soon, but let's just get all of these guys bred up for now anyway. Oh, this feels very unethical. I feel like we are committing so many crimes this episode, but it's got to be done. Anyway, now that we've got our dark oak, let's start on some pillars. This should be nice and easy though. I'm just going to fill up the gaps between the barrels here. We'll get these all stripped as well, and I'm not going to go any higher than this because I would like to add a second floor to our library once it's finally built. And in fact, why don't we just get rid of these two here, which we can put some barrels in, and maybe we can just add some trapdoors on the middle section here like this. But okay, that is pretty nice. So let's just go ahead and get the rest of these sections filled in. Okay, you know what? This is actually looking super weird. I don't know why, but I thought once we put these things in, we'd get a bigger grasp on how the room's going to look. But it's kind of just throwing me off having these things lead up to nowhere. So I think next I'm actually just going to add the second floor above these things. And for that, we're going to need quite a lot of spruce slabs. And all we've got to do with these slabs is bring them out by about 4 blocks, and then essentially just run them all the way along the side of the wall here. Alright, that is one side complete. And I know it's looking a little bit strange now, but you've got to just trust the process, okay? I mean, to start with, the second floor isn't even connected to the struts properly, so let's deal with that. I think a very easy solution, though, would just be to craft a bunch of stairs. We'll get some slabs as well, some extra trapdoors, and let's also strip a load of spruce logs that we can dig straight back up and turn into spruce shelves. Then what we can do is break the blocks surrounding the struts, and let's just run some spruce stairs around the edges here. Oh, actually, you know what? That looks a little bit silly. Let's get rid of that. And I think instead we'll just bring it out 1 extra block this time. That at least gives us some room to do something a bit more interesting. So we can maybe put some stairs here, get some trapdoors on the top, and let's stick some shelves on the side. Oh, okay, I'm liking that. Let's also grab some signs, which we can just use to fill up the empty spaces here on the side. And okay, that is actually looking quite a lot better. So let's just go ahead and get that repeated on all of the different struts. But you know what that means? It's time for another time lapse. And if you're still watching at this point, prove it and comment the word banana. Oh yes, that is looking so much better now. Oh, hang on a second. We're missing some signs here. Alright, that is much better. But yeah, that is the same design repeated on every strut now. I've also added some lanterns in here too for some nice lighting, because it was getting a little bit dark under the shade. And now I do have to admit, it gets a little bit awkward at the edges here. I probably will end up just shoving a load of bookshelves in here, but of course we're going to have to save that until later. So for now, it's just going to have to look a bit strange. It's the same at the bottom here too. We actually had a different amount of space, so I've gone with some larger pillars instead, which I kind of like. And all of these blank walls at the back here are going to also be for bookshelves, but I'm not sure that the cows are ready just yet, and I don't think we're going to have any villagers yet either. But actually, come to think of it, maybe now is a good time to check on the villager breeder. It would be nice to see if we're getting close to some actual villagers now. Okay, never mind, this thing is definitely ready to go. Oh, okay, that kind of changes everything. I think we're actually going to have to speed run some cows now, because we may as well start getting the villager stations filled up, and it may just be a little bit awkward to fill this wall in behind them once they're already in there. So let's go check on the cows. Oh my god, what have we done? Oh, these poor cows. Oh my god, they can barely move. Okay, you know what? Maybe this is ready to harvest. You know what though? I think we can actually fit some more in this pen. Let's take a quick visit to one of our wheat farms here, because I've got a feeling we're going to need a lot of wheat to feed these guys now. Okay, we've got about 8 stacks now, which should definitely be enough, but I am just going to take a quick stop in our wheat storage building because I wanted to show you this real quick. I've added a nice little hopper system where we can just deposit our wheat seeds and it's automatically just going to make us bone meal. I don't know why, I just think that's really cool. You can tell I'm not a redstoner. Anyway, let's head back over to our cow pen and let's get all of these guys fed up one more time. Alright, now we just gotta wait for those guys to grow up, then we can do the unthinkable. So I think I'll just go AFK in this village overnight to give them enough time. And there we go, I think that should do it. Oh, yep, I can feel my frames getting lower already. Oh, this is a lot of cows. Alright, it's finally time to do this. Well, that was a bit traumatic, but on the plus side, we still have quite a lot of cows left. And just look at how much leather and how many raw beef we actually got from that. Looting 3 on our sword is doing some mighty fine work there. And to be honest, before we do anything, I'm actually going to grab all of this beef and take a quick trip through the nether because I would actually like to visit our super smelter at the other side of the world where we can chuck all of the beef in, fill that up with some coal and get all of that in the oven. Oh, I love this thing. Look at it go. But to be honest, I think that is probably enough, so let's just grab all of this. And that's definitely a big improvement over eating bread. But anyway, let's head back to our village, because it is finally time for us to take some leather, as well as some sugarcane, which we can craft into paper, turn those into books, and then finally turn those into bookshelves. Wait, is that all we get? 42? Oh man, I'm going to need a lot more sugarcane. But I suppose that will do for now. Let's at least see how far 42 gets us. Alright, I suppose it makes the most sense to just start at the end here. So let's see if we can at least fill one of these walls up. And oh boy, we only have 6 bookshelves left after that, but at least we got one full section built. Like I said though, I am definitely going to need a lot more sugarcane, so let's at least try and stay on top of harvesting all of this. Then we can just get them all chucked in there. But now the farms are taken care of, let's head back down here, because I would like to get some villagers moved in here. So I did craft a bunch of minecarts, which we can chuck in here. Let's also make a load of rails, which we can use to run the track all the way to the end of the hallway. And we are going to have to break some carpet here. But alright, track complete. So now all we gotta do is go back to the breeder, click this button, and it should scoop one up. Nice, it worked. I probably should have put some powered rails on this, but I guess we can always just push them. And I also think I'm just going to keep them in the minecart as well. That way we can just have a bunch of villagers lined up without having to break the carts. Now, if you've watched this series for a while, you'll know I already have a trading village for enchantments. So I'm going to focus on different traders for our main hall. And I did find this handy diagram online which shows me all of the different trade types. So I'm just going to grab some stone from our chest here, because I would like to craft some stone cutters. That way we can turn this guy into a stonemason. But since I've crafted all of these stone cutters, we may as well get the rest of these guys in place. Our villager breeder is full after all. And that is the final mason in place. And I think this station just looks so cool now. However, it does feel a little bit bare up here. I don't know, I think maybe too many bookshelves make it look a little bit boring. But I have had one idea that we can do. Let's see, how do you make chiseled bookshelves? Oh, okay, nice. That is just made out of wood. Let me just grab some of that. Okay, and chiseled bookshelves, we can get 11 from that. So let's maybe just break some random holes in here. I think something like that should do. Get them all replaced. Oh yeah, okay, that adds a nice bit of texture, doesn't it? I feel like we should probably get something on top of these barrels as well. To be honest though, I don't think we need much. I think some trapdoors will probably do the job nicely. And I wonder if it would look any good running some signs along the front here. Okay, that's not bad. I kind of like it. And I wonder, do we have any shroom lights left? We do, nice. Because I would like to just dump them in the corners here like this so we get some nice lighting effects going on. And alright, that is looking pretty solid now. And of course, once we've got this in every single section, it's just going to look so good. But okay, all we have to do now is wait for more villagers to breed up in the chamber over there. Then we can just populate all of these cells. But until that happens, we should focus on getting the bookshelves in. But of course, that means we're going to have to collect a lot of wood, grab all of the leather, as well as all of the sugarcane, craft a load of paper, a load of books, and let's see how far this gets us. And okay, those bookshelves actually stretched a lot further than I thought they were going to. We got this whole left side complete, and we've got over half of the right side complete as well. But I have completely ran out of leather and sugarcane now. So what I'll do is just harvest the sugarcane again real quick, feed all the cows again, stock back up on some leather, craft the rest of the bookshelves, and get these final 2 sections all finished up. And that should just about do it. Okay, nice. We have all of the bookshelves sorted now. Well, at least for the bottom floor. We still need to do the top floor. Now, I do already have a rough idea of what I want the upstairs to look like. I basically want to extend these pillars up while making them a little bit bigger. So let's just get started and see what we can do. And the good thing about building on the second floor is I don't actually plan to have any villagers up here. So we do have a lot more room to make these pillars larger. So I'm just going to go ahead and build them all the way up to the ceiling. I'll also get it all stripped. And there we go. Oh, I like that. That is pretty cool. And if you're wondering why I've left a gap at the back here against the wall, that's because we're just going to continue the bookshelves up here from the bottom level. But of course, we'll need to get some more leather and sugarcane for that, so we'll wait until later. But I do like how that's looking so far. So let's just get it built up on the opposite side of the platform. Okay, now that I can see 2 of them together, I think we've definitely made the right choice here. So before we get them all connected up, I think I'll just repeat these pillars all the way across the room, which means I'm going to need a quick pit stop at our tree farm so I can grab a load of dark wood. Alright, that should definitely do. And I hope you like time lapses, because it's time for another one. Alright, this is definitely the best change we've made so far. Look at this place now, it's so cool. This has just completely changed the scale of it. Even though it was all dug out, I can't explain it. But now it's time for the fun part. We're going to have to design a cool archway to connect these things. And of course, I've come prepared with a load of spruce wood. So let's just make a load of different variations here. Alrighty, blocks acquired. Let's get started over this side here. We're definitely going to need a point to start the archways from. So let's just mark that in with some trapdoors here. This will also create just a nice little bit of depth, and to be fair, we can probably just spam some signs underneath that bit as well. Then let's grab some stairs, because we're going to have to start to build outwards now. And you know what, just so I can make sure that I'm actually on track, I'm going to do the same on this side as well. Then at least that way I can start building some slabs across, and we'll know when we're getting closer to the center point. So let's just keep building up and along, and we are getting quite close to the center point here. So let's just add a slab on top of that. Then we can connect some stairs, and finally we can just finish off with a trapdoor there. Maybe put some here too to round it out a little bit. It'll of course look better once we've got all these sections filled in as well. But for the main archway itself, I would say I am happy with that. So let's just go ahead and get the whole thing filled in. Okay, that's looking better now that it's all filled in. I think I would also like an archway between the ones on the side as well, and I suppose it makes sense to just start in the same position as this one. So let's just bring some slabs across again. We'll do the same on this side, and we'll just connect the middle with the trapdoors. Alright, looking good. Now all we need to do is design something for the top part, and I guess we can just start by placing a torch here and then just filling this gap with spruce planks, which will give us something like this, which we can just get repeated on the opposite side. And then let's just make this a little bit more interesting by adding struts. Then we can get all these gaps filled in, add some more smaller archways, which is going to leave us something looking like this. And I think that looks really cool. Now obviously you have to use your imagination a little bit, because we have to get all of these archways in on here and get it all repeated. But I think that is a very solid shape to work with. And it even leaves us with some space in the middle where the stone is. And I have got something very cool planned for that. But before we finish the roof off, we should probably get some more villagers in this place. I'm a little bit worried that our villager breeder is going to be getting seriously backed up, and we've committed enough atrocities this episode, we don't need more. So let's go ahead and get a guy out of this, send him on his way, and I think I'm going to turn this section of villagers into fishermen, purely so we can trade for campfires. I hate crafting those things. But alright, that is one fisherman with a job. You'll love to see it. Now let's just get this rail moved, send some more villagers on the way, give them all some jobs, then we can just finish off with some nice decoration again. And that is another selection of traders, all complete. And I've actually just had a nice little idea on what we can do to fill up the space a little bit on these walls. And for that, we're going to have to head up upstairs back to the cow pen because I would like to grab some extra leather. Then let's craft some sticks and turn all of those into item frames. And then above each villager's head we can actually display the items which they're going to be selling. Although to be fair, at the minute I can't actually buy anything off them because we have no emeralds. So I think for the next section of villages we're going to have some currency traders. And what I mean by currency traders are villagers who give good deals on emeralds for items we have in abundance, like sticks for example, or iron ingots that we can get from an iron farm. So let's get some more villagers sent into the hall, and I am going to go ahead and chuck some stone into the furnaces here, so that way we can craft ourselves some blast furnaces, which we can use as a workstation to turn these guys here into armorers. Let's just refill our villager station here with minecarts, get some more sent out, and get this section all filled up. And now that that's complete, we finally have some villages we can trade for currency. So let's have a look. Wait a second. Have I done this wrong? Coal? That's too much. Hang on, I do have a mod that allows us to cycle trades here. Oh, I've made an error. We must not unlock the iron ingot trades until later. Alright, well that's a bit of a whoopsie. I guess we're just going to have to fill the opposite section with stick traders. Oh, back in a minute. Alright, stick traders fully in place. And I know this definitely works because I've already checked. So we can just go straight from sticks into emeralds. Okay, nice. I've got 18. But he did gobble through the sticks very quickly there. So let's just go grab some more wood out of the boxes. Get them all converted. Do some more trades, and that leaves us with a total of 51 emeralds. So now we can start talking to other traders, and I'll be honest, I actually completely forgot these guys sold bricks. This is going to be so handy. But now that we finally have some trades on the go, we can start populating these item frames, which again is probably going to take some time. We're not going to be able to do it all in one go, but this is quite a nice bit of progress. And then I think what we can do is any spare items we have left over from trades, we can just store in the barrels next to them. So we'll put all of the bricks over here, chuck the spare sticks away, and nice, this is starting to come together. I really like it. Of course, we still have a long way to go, but I think it's probably about time we bring our attention back to the ceiling. And I feel like I've been yapping for quite a long time now, so let's complete all this in a time lapse. Okay, this place is starting to look amazing right now. I absolutely love this design. It's come out so nicely. Although I don't plan to keep those torches there. I just needed some light while I was working. But yeah, I am super happy with all of the archways we've got. However, one thing over at this side does look a little bit strange. I've kind of had to imagine that there's going to be a wall there at some point. So I know this kind of just looks like it's floating for now, but trust me, once we get all of the bookshelves in there, I think it's going to look a lot better. But before we do that, I think I would just like to finish off the ceiling. We've got these big gaps in the roof currently, and I would love to get an overgrown mossy vibe in there that we can hang glowberries from. And for that, we are going to have to visit a lush cave, and I think this place will do very nicely. We got lots of moss here, so let's just yoink a load of this. I'm also going to grab all of these glowberries. Ooh, and maybe these spore blossoms will come in handy too. Let's yoink that. And then finally, I'm just going to grab a load of cobblestone, which we can then use to combine with the moss for mossy cobblestone. And then all I'm going to do is climb back up to the ceiling, where I can fill all the gaps in with mossy cobblestone and add some glowberries hanging from the ceiling. And let's just snip the ends so they don't grow too large. That is really cool. Of course, it's definitely going to look better once we fill every single section in, but I think that's a pretty good start. So let's get it done. Okay, that has completely changed the mood in here. I almost never use glowberries for decoration, but I feel like we're going to have to start doing it more often because this looks amazing. So all that's really left to do is the upstairs and the two opposite walls. So let's start with the upstairs. And like I've said, all we're going to do up there is spam a load of bookshelves, which means we are going to have to grab some more leather. But before we do that, let's at least grab some more wheat. That way we can at least breed up all the cows one more time before we kill them, so I can craft a load of more books, turn them into bookshelves, and start filling in some of these back walls. And with the help of some chiseled bookshelves, we actually got quite a big portion of that done. But at the minute, we're a little bit low on sugarcane, so I'll have to do a bit more grinding before we complete the side walls. So while we wait for all of that sugarcane to grow, I think we should work on these big empty spots at both ends of the room. And I'll start with this one because it's going to be the easiest. As you can see, I've already lined some chests here, and I would just like to continue that so the entire wall is full of chests. But of course, we will have to leave some room in the middle here because we're still taking villagers out of this thing. But that's okay. We can just build around it for now. And I'm also going to create a backlight here made of shroom lights. So that's going to look really cool from the front. So let's just go ahead and get all of this filled in. Although, come to think of it, I am a little bit low on shroom lights. So let's just have a quick trip to the nether so we can just grab some glowstone instead because it's going to be easier to find. And let's just plop those behind the chests. Then we've just got to add some nice decoration on the side. And aside from the big hole in the middle and the lack of bookshelves on the side, I think that actually looks pretty solid. But since that wall is now complete, the only thing we've really got left to focus on is the opposite side of the hall now. And considering I've been flying in and out of this stupid little hole to get in this thing, I think it's pretty obvious that we're going to put an entrance here. And I think we'll just go with a nice similar design, starting with some nice struts on the side. But I think on this one we'll just do a nice little archway, something like that will do. Get some trapdoors on the edges here, fill the rest in with spruce wood. Ooh, not bad at all actually, I'm liking that. But for the entrance and exit themselves, I am just going to create a bubble column. So we'll be able to drop down here and ride the bubble column back up. So let's get all of that filled in. And we've also got to dig straight up so we can actually find where the hole needs to drop down into. Oh, hang on, looks like we found it. Yes, daylight. But okay, they are all set to go, and I've got some nice decorations on this now as well, so it's looking pretty solid. So all I'm going to do now to get it all finished off is craft some spruce stairs, plop them down near the bottom here, which we can then do something really cool with by placing this glass on top of it, which is going to mean that when we finally add our water in and do that little kelp trick which turns everything into bubbles, we can actually see them through the glass. How cool is that? Obviously we don't see anything on this side because this one's just a free fall, but kind of had to make them match, you know. But okay, that is the entrance and exit all sorted. We have our chest wall over there, everything else is in place. Now all that's left is for me to do some grindy bits to get the rest of the villagers in and fill all of these empty spaces with bookshelves. So let's kick it into one last montage and get it all done. And just like that, our trading hall is finally complete. The upstairs has definitely come together super nicely, although I'll be honest, it is form over function. There's nothing really to do up there other than look nice. We got the bookshelves on the end there too, and of course we have all of the villagers in now. I still need to update a few item frames, but for the most part, it's fine with me. And as for a proper entrance, we're going to save this for the next episode when I transform this entire village. Unless I change my mind. Oh, hang on a second. I almost forgot to add these spore blossoms. Alright, now it's perfect. Anyway, that's going to be all from me, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.